I never imagined that the woman who gave birth to me would steal from me, but that's exactly what happened. I woke up one Saturday morning to 22 missed calls from my mother, 12 frantic text messages, and a voicemail where she was sobbing so hard I could barely understand what she was saying. The strange part was that I had already blocked her number the night before. Those missed calls were coming from different phones, my aunt's phone, my cousin's phone, even my sister's best friend's phone. Every message said the same thing: please answer. We need to fix this. It was a mistake. The funny thing is, the mistake wasn't mine. My mother had secretly taken my debit card, emptied thousands of dollars from my savings, and used the money to send my younger sister on a luxury vacation because, according to her, your sister deserves to enjoy her youth before it's too late. I was expected to smile, forgive her, and rebuild my savings from scratch. Instead, I did something that completely changed our family forever. Tell me honestly, if your own mother stole your money to spoil your favorite sibling, would you forgive her, or would you do exactly what I did? For some background, I'm 28 years old, and I've spent my entire adult life working harder than anyone in my family ever expected me to. I wasn't born into money. We grew up in a small town where every dollar mattered. While other kids were spending weekends hanging out at the mall, I was babysitting neighbors' children, cleaning houses, and working part-time as soon as I was legally old enough. I learned early that if I wanted something, nobody was going to hand it to me. I had to earn it. My younger sister, Lily, had a completely different childhood. My parents adored her. They called her their little princess, their miracle baby, the sunshine of the family. If she wanted expensive shoes, she got them. If she wanted a new phone, my parents somehow found the money. If she failed a class, somehow it was the teacher's fault. Whenever I asked for something, I was told to be grateful for what I already had. At first, I thought I was imagining the favoritism. Kids notice things differently than adults do. But as we got older, it became impossible to ignore. My birthday cakes got smaller every year while Lily's birthday parties became bigger. I bought my own first car. She received hers as a graduation gift. I paid my own college tuition with scholarships and multiple jobs. My parents paid for one semester of community college for Lily before she dropped out because she needed to find herself. Despite everything, I never hated my sister. She had been raised to believe the world revolved around her. That wasn't entirely her fault. The person I struggled with was my mother. She always had an excuse for why Lily deserved more. She's younger. She's more emotional. She has anxiety. You can handle yourself. That last sentence became her favorite excuse whenever she wanted me to sacrifice something. After college, I built a stable career in marketing. I rented a modest apartment, drove an older car that was fully paid off, and slowly built a savings account. My dream was to buy my own home. Every extra paycheck went into that account. I skipped expensive vacations. I cooked meals instead of eating out. I said no to impulse shopping because I had a goal. My parents knew exactly how much that dream meant to me. About 6 months before everything exploded, my mother asked if she could stay at my apartment for a few days while repairs were being done at her house. I agreed without hesitation. She's my mother, after all. During that visit, she noticed where I kept my wallet. She also watched me enter my debit card PIN while I paid for groceries. I didn't think anything of it. Why would I? I trusted her completely. A few weeks later, Lily started talking nonstop about wanting to take a luxury beach vacation with her friends. The problem was she didn't have the money. She bounced between part-time jobs and spent almost everything she earned. My parents couldn't afford to pay for it either, or so they claimed. Then my mother started making comments. You've been saving for years. You have plenty. Couldn't you help your sister just this once? Every single time I said no. Not because I didn't love Lily, but because I'd already helped countless times. I'd paid overdue bills. Covered emergency car repairs. Bought groceries. Lent money that somehow never came back. I had reached my limit. The conversations became more aggressive. You care more about money than family. No, I replied one afternoon. I care about people respecting my boundaries. She rolled her eyes. You're so selfish lately. I laughed because I genuinely couldn't believe she was saying that to the daughter, who had spent years cleaning up everyone else's financial messes. Eventually, the subject disappeared. Or so I thought. One Friday afternoon, I finished work early and decided to stop by a furniture store to look at dining tables for the house I hoped to buy one day. I found one I loved and decided to put down a deposit. My card declined. I smiled awkwardly at the cashier and tried again. Declined. I opened my banking app. My stomach dropped. My savings account looked almost empty. Thousands of dollars were gone. At first, I thought the bank had made an error. Then I checked the transaction history. Multiple ATM withdrawals. Several purchases. Hotel reservations. Airline tickets. A luxury resort. Every transaction had happened over the previous 48 hours. I immediately called my bank. The representative asked whether anyone else had access to my card. I froze. My mother stayed with me recently. My heart started racing. I rushed home. My wallet was exactly where I'd left it. The debit card was sitting inside. Someone had taken it, used it, and quietly returned it. The bank advised me to freeze the account immediately while they investigated. I did. Then I called my mother. She answered cheerfully. Hi, sweetheart. I asked one question. Did you take my card? Silence. Not confusion. Not denial. Silence. Finally, she sighed. I was going to tell you. That sentence shattered something inside me. She admitted she'd taken my card while I was at work. She claimed she'd only borrowed it because Lily's vacation package was almost sold out. Borrowed. Without permission. Without asking. Without any intention of telling me until after the trip. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She actually expected me to thank her for making Lily happy. Then she said something I'll never forget. You'll earn it back. Your sister only gets to be young once. I hung up. I cried harder than I had in years. Not because of the money. Because the woman I trusted most had looked at my years of sacrifice and decided they belonged to someone else. So here's where I want your opinion. Imagine spending years working overtime, skipping vacations, and saying no to everything fun because you're chasing one dream. Then your own mother secretly empties your savings for your sibling's vacation and tells you to get over it because you'll make more money. Before I tell you what happened next, pause for a second and ask yourself honestly, what would you have done? Would you have forgiven her because she's family, or would you have held her accountable no matter who she was? I chose accountability. The very next morning I visited my bank in person. The fraud department explained that because the transactions were unauthorized, I had every legal right to file a formal fraud claim. They warned me that if I identified the person responsible, it could lead to criminal consequences. I nodded. They asked me one final time. Are you sure? I answered yes. I wasn't trying to ruin my mother's life. She had made that choice herself. Over the next week, investigators reviewed ATM footage, transaction records, and security cameras. There was no mystery. Every withdrawal showed my mother. Every purchase connected directly to Lily's vacation bookings. Suddenly, my phone exploded. Relatives started calling. She's your mother. Can't you just let it go? It was only money. Funny how people always say, it's only money, when it isn't theirs. Then came Lily. She showed up at my apartment furious. You reported Mom. You spent my savings. You ruined my vacation. No, I replied calmly. Mom ruined it the moment she stole from me. She screamed that I was jealous. Jealous of the sister who had just watched our mother rob me without saying a word. She stormed out. A few days later, the vacation reservations were cancelled after the bank reversed disputed payments that hadn't fully settled. Some expenses couldn't be recovered immediately, but a large portion eventually returned to my account during the investigation. My mother suddenly realized this wasn't a family disagreement anymore. It had become a legal issue. That's when the begging started. 22 phone calls. Voicemails. Text messages. Emails. Messages through relatives. She cried. She apologized. She promised she'd pay everything back. She said she'd never do it again. She even blamed stress, saying she wasn't thinking clearly. Maybe she wasn't. But she'd thought clearly enough to memorize my PIN, sneak my card out of my apartment, use it repeatedly over 2 days, and put it back before I noticed. That doesn't happen by accident. Eventually, she came to my apartment. She looked exhausted. Older somehow. She begged me to withdraw the complaint. I looked her in the eyes. For years you taught me that actions have consequences. She started crying. I never thought you'd do this to your own mother. I answered quietly. I never thought you'd steal from your own daughter. She had no response. The investigation eventually ended with an agreement that required full repayment and legal accountability short of a lengthy court battle. It wasn't the dramatic prison sentence some relatives imagined, but it wasn't a free pass either. She had to repay every dollar, deal with the consequences of her actions, and rebuild trust that might never fully return. Family gatherings changed after that. Some relatives avoided me. Others secretly admitted they wished they'd stood up to toxic family members years earlier. Lily eventually reached out months later. Not to apologize. To ask if we could move on. I told her moving on begins with accepting responsibility. Years later, she finally admitted she'd known where the money came from before leaving for the trip. That confession hurt almost as much as the theft itself. Today, my savings are back. I bought the house I'd dreamed about. I changed every password, every PIN, every financial account, and I stopped believing that being related to someone automatically makes them trustworthy. People ask if I regret what I did. The answer is no. Because the day I finally chose myself wasn't the day my family fell apart. It was the day I stopped holding them together at my own expense. If there's one lesson I've learned, it's that love without boundaries becomes permission for people to take advantage of you. Family should never be an excuse for betrayal, and forgiveness should never require pretending that nothing happened. If you think I did the right thing, let me know in the comments because I know this kind of story divides people. Like this video if you were on my side, subscribe for more unbelievable Reddit-style stories, and don't forget to share your final thoughts on this whole mess below. I'd genuinely love to hear what you would have done if you were in my position. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all in the next story.